Stop. I know, we were supposed to leave. Give me a second. On. Save. Shareable link. Oh shit. Keep making mistakes because I'm riddled. Hello guys, welcome back to another live She Knows Arsenal, another live show. I was in the fucking car getting ready to go do what I needed to do for the day, and now I'm back talking to you guys probably like 5 minutes later because we have finally got the Orny bomb that we've been waiting on. Arsenal are in talks with Chelsea to sign Raheem Sterling before the transfer window closes. Arsenal are now actively working on a loan move for CFC attacker. If deal is struck, personal terms would still need to be agreed. No issue expected. Now, this also goes in line with the conversation of Reece Nelson because Reece Nelson is also potentially on the move. There are 4 teams that are interested in Reece Nelson by deadline, and that would be a loan move. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully this gets done. I never thought in a million years that I would be begging for Sterling on deadline day, but here we are because when I say we need an attacker, I mean we need an attacker. And if you can't get your first option, you must get something. And so I would welcome Raheem with big arms. Welcome to the Arsenal. He's already worked with Mikel before. Let's go through the positives. He's already worked with Mikel before. He is a winner, all that kind of stuff. Like, just bring him in. Like, I'm at the stage now where it's just like, just get it done. It's 8:00. The deadline is like, in 2 hours or something like that. So they need to hurry up, but it shouldn't be that hard to get a loan deal done. I know that, the wages and who's going to pay what portion and is he going to take a pay cut and all that kind of stuff. Probably needs to be discussed, but now that Chelsea are in talks with Manchester United for Sancho, I think that is pushing this along quickly. So let's see what all of you guys are saying. I'm sure you guys are screaming and yelling at me. You guys can scream and yell at me if you want to. Aman says Sterling is better than nothing, I guess. I mean, that's kind of like the feeling, yeah, is like he's better than nothing. This is not what we were promised, but I'm in the camp of we have so little numbers. We have so questionable quality in the ranks that we do kind of have to sign someone. So yeah, Raheem, to me, I would take Raheem over nothing. And I told you guys that at the beginning of the window, actually not at the beginning of the window, I told you guys that maybe like a week ago, that if it came down to it and at the end of the window, deadline day, you offered me Sterling or Zane or one of those, I would take it, because that's how dire I feel like our situation is from an attacking standpoint. It's not, again, he's not going to raise the ceiling, but he's definitely somebody that, like Trossard, can come in and not do a job. He's better than do a job. And Kedia was doing a job, he's more than do a job. Like, I'm not going to disrespect Raheem Sterling. But he's definitely not somebody that's going to like change all of our fortunes. But yes, if at the end of the day, something were to happen to Saka and the person that I'm bringing off the bench is Raheem Sterling, that is so much better than bringing on Reece Nelson. So, yeah. And after I was saying, beggars can't be choosers, so take anybody right now. That's kind of like where we're at. We shouldn't have never gotten to this position. In my opinion, I think we should have been the first thing smoking into the club, should have been an attacker. But, listen, like, it's better than nothing, in my opinion. Real Darlin says, I wouldn't mind signing him at this moment. Nico says, big up Jess, big up to you as well. I'm just like, I was in the car, like fully about to drive off, and then I saw it, and I went back and forth for like 5 minutes, and I was like, should I go live? Should I not? I just did this, but I was like, yeah, I could go live for like 30 minutes. I'll just be a little late, but it's probably fine. Because I'm going to go hang out with my best friend. Johan says, my girl Jessica is going off today, as she should. I don't feel bad about saying what the fuck I said. I said what I said. Ain't nobody gonna do a see I told you so for a Raheem Sterling loan. So Henton says, just me who thinks Sterling will cook for us. System player, and Sterling's best period was under Arteta as assistant manager. I don't think Sterling would do bad for us. That's not the point. Like, I don't think, like I said, I didn't think Coman or Sterling or Zane or any of those players would not improve the group, because this group right now includes Reece Nelson. So just by that, of course, he would improve the group. And of course, he's a quality player. The whole point is that I think at the beginning of the window, like I showed you guys that tweet, is that they said that we're going to get like Isak and Michael Olise. That's what we were targeting. And now we've gone down to a Sterling loan. So, of course, Sterling will play well for us. I don't have any doubt in my mind that Sterling will play good for us. If for a lot of people, that's really good depth. If you take off Martinelli, you have to take off Saka, and you're bringing on Trossard and Sterling, you are not, destitute. You're in a good position. Is it enough to get us to where we want to go? Probably not, but it's better than nothing. We could not do nothing. That was unacceptable. Tech says, Afsar, 100% we should have pounced when we had the chance. Just better than nothing is our position now. Yeah, it's better than nothing. Jack says, how are we supposed to compete in 4 competitions with 4 forwards? I mean, if you add Sterling in, then you have Trossard, Saka, Havertz, and Sterling. And then again, you're still in the same position, hoping that Jesus and Martinelli can come back to form. It doesn't solve all of our problems. It's just, you cannot go into next season with what we look like we're going into. You know what I mean? Let's see. The McChronicle says, hey, at least Sterling can start against Bolton. My God. The fact that the goalkeeper can't even play against Bolton is just wild. Reggie says, Jess, if it's Sterling in and Nelson out, what are your thoughts about that? I think Nelson has to go. To be honest, I think he should be at a stage in his life where he wants to play consistent football. And he's like almost 25 years old, so it's time to leave the nest. He's not going to help us. I know that we, as Arsenal fans, we love nostalgia. We love to hold on to small moments, and holding on to Nelson because he scored that goal against Bournemouth one time, is not a good enough reason. I think we're too soft when it comes to, like, Nelson is not somebody that you want to see coming off of the bench in a Champions League knockout round to help you win a game. He's not somebody that you want to see coming off the bench against City. He's not somebody that you want coming off of the bench against Aston Villa. So as harsh as that's going to sound, I would gladly take Nelson over or move Nelson on and bring in Sterling, because just that in itself brings more quality into this team. So I would take that because that's all that's being offered to me at this stage. Do you know what I mean? Mitch says Sterling last minute is a shambles. What's Edu been doing all summer? Javi Simmons, Gyökeres, Osimhen, Coman were all available, and this is the best we're getting. It's a joke. Listen, I said what I said in the last stream. I feel very similarly. I don't have much to give when why are we at this stage? But when you're offered, if you're thirsty, you will drink some dirty ass water just to get something, and that's kind of where we're at. We'll take anything right now, anything. So now we just have to, move on, So Keva says progress made and talks for Raheem Sterling to move to Arsenal, attractive destination for sporting reasons, of course. Fabrizio says Sterling agrees personal terms with Arsenal. Sammy McBell says this is advancing. Yeah, it's happening. It's happening. We're getting Sterling on a loan. Moscato says, hi, Jess. The transfer window will end soon. I think Arsenal won't sign anyone. I'm sorry because the squad is incomplete now that Jesus and Marino are also missing. The move should have been bang. Should have been. It looks like we're getting Sterling. So, yeah. Diaz says, big up Jess in the chat. Leopold says, Arteta could transform Sterling like he did Havertz. I don't even think Sterling needs transforming, you guys. I think I don't think Sterling is like Havertz, where Havertz was never successful in English football prior to him coming to Arsenal. To me, that's completely different. Sterling is proven, tried and true, tested, many, many times in English football. At Liverpool, at Man City, now at Chelsea, he had a difficult time. But there's a lot of players that have gone to Chelsea in the last couple of years that have faltered, So I think he got caught in the crosshairs of a team in transition between multiple managers. I'm sure at Chelsea he's played under at least 3 managers. And I just think that there's a lack of motivation from him to be in a situation where things are ever changing and there's no constant, you know what I mean? Like going from the City that he went to the Chelsea that was prior to the season was probably really difficult for him. So I don't actually think I think if he gets into a stable environment, he will be fine. I don't think Sterling is going to need the same type of therapy and love and care that Havertz needed when he came from Chelsea. To me, that was completely different. Sterling has never been considered a flop in English football. You know what I mean? So I don't think Arteta is going to have to do much to transform Sterling. I just think he needs to be in a stable environment where he understands what we're supposed to be doing. Sterling is a very straightforward situation. I have no question that he'll be fine. It's just, this is not what was marketed to us. James says, I believe that Edu has properly shown that his abilities is not on par with Arteta's ambition. We do not want to get anything. Metek says, Sterling's been done dirty, though, by Chelsea. Maybe that might light a fire at us. I feel like Sterling is going to come, he'll come straight in and be fine. I don't think he's washed or anything like that. And even if I actually think we have a strange relationship as a fan base with players that are not children. I think any player that is over the age of 26, we instantly don't want them because they're older. But this team actually does not need any other younger players unless they are of elite world-class quality. We actually could do with more experience. So for me, my first choice would have been an elite forward that has more time in the bank, but I'm not going to turn down, I'm not going to pretend like an experienced Sterling is going to hurt us. You know what I mean? He's not going to hurt us. But I do think as a fan base, we are like obsessed with youth. And we always want to be the youngest team when it would not be the worst thing to have somebody that comes off of the bench that kind of knows what to do. But that's just, how I feel about it. Like an elite standard of player would have been my ideal situation. If you can't get that and you can't get the next level down, then a Sterling on a loan is not going to kill us, So yeah, it's looking like Sterling, yeah. I think it's Sterling, and Reece Nelson will probably go, which I think is the right thing. We need to move on a lot of these players. Yeah, and this is why, like, remember earlier I said that I wouldn't have been surprised if Saka had already spoken to Sterling because Saka was at the training ground and was like, who are we signing? He probably knew that we had already spoken to Sterling and was probably expecting us to maybe bring him in. I think the players will actually really be happy about the Sterling signing. I think they'll be okay with it. I think they'll be excited by it because he will help us, but again, we still have kicked the can down the road a little bit further when it comes to bringing in that elite talent that we need up front on the wing and in center forward. So yeah, the McChronicle says Santi Jimenez isn't even a top 2 striker in CONCACAF stop. I don't want that. Santi Jimenez is not on our level. Neil says Sterling with a point to prove after what Chelsea has done to him, bring him in. Plus, he knows Saka and Rice will settle in quickly. I don't think we'll have much of a problem with Sterling. He's been around for a long time. This guy, he knows the league in and out. It's just not what we were promised or what we thought was going to happen, from the beginning. So yeah, Sancho is going to Chelsea. We get Sterling. Yeah. It's interesting to see what he's played with Kai Havertz before. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is going to go through. And so, yeah, I mean, that would cap off the window. And to me, that's better than nothing. I could not have done nothing. Sorry. Callie says, I'm just pissed that year in and year out we miss out on our top targets. Sesko Williams this window, Isak Vlahovic, Raya before we got Ramsdale. Edu needs to wake up. I think just the timing is always off on the players that we're trying to get, or we're not in a position to be able to attract them. I'm a very big, timing is everything. I think the timing of us trying to get Declan Rice collided so perfectly that it just made sense. I think the timing on everything else was very either we got there too early or we got there too late. Trying to get Isak out of Newcastle now is an impossible task. It's impossible. You needed to jump on that before he became what he is. You know what I mean? So I just think the timing of us trying to get these top quality signings is always off. We wait until, their main club that they've always wanted to go to is interested in them. And then we start knocking on the door, come to Arsenal, or we're not in a position, as status wise to be able to attract certain guys, So I just feel like the timing is just always off. So yeah. SC Dave says, when will Arteta just click the win silverware button already? Samuel says, I don't think Sterling will happen. This is Edu saying we tried, no time for a medical. I think it'll happen. I think it just was too. The other thing, Samuel, that was very strange is getting rid of all of those players and not getting anybody. Even if I was like, we're not even going to bring in a shitty player, nothing. That's crazy. I think it will get done. It's a loan. Reece Nelson's agent is desperate to try to get West Ham to move for him. We are being offered much more favorable terms. There are other clubs that are interested, including Fulham and Palace. So Reece Nelson to West Ham, Fulham, and Palace is also on the cards in these last couple of hours. So yeah, I do think this will get done. I think they have to know that they need to bring somebody in. Period. Get it done. Tony says, I won't entertain winning the league until we win away at Anfield and the Etihad. I mean, that's never been a requirement to win the league. So we just have to not lose to teams like West Ham and Fulham. If you don't lose to those teams, you don't have to go to Anfield and win, or the Etihad and win. In fact, Klopp's never won at the Etihad in his whole career. So it's never been a requirement. I don't even think City don't walk up to Anfield and just wipe them away. It's just never been a requirement. It's nonsense that the media has made up that you have to go to the Etihad and win to win the league. You don't. You have to not lose to ass teams like Fulham. That is how you win the league. Callie says, FYI, I was talking about Isak at Sociedad before he went to Newcastle, by the way, Justin. Here's the thing about things like that is that you could say, well, how do you know that, how would you have known that it would have worked out because he only scored 4 goals at Sociedad? That's up to them to know. That's up for Edu and them to be able to determine who are you willing to take a risk on and who are you not willing to take a risk on. I think you could say right now that if you have to, Edu and Arteta, when they decide they want to take a risk on somebody, it doesn't work out, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't take risks at all. It's up to our transfer team and our scouts to understand who you're willing to take a risk on. And I think we made a mistake on the Isak thing. I think if you have Isak in your team and you don't have Jesus, you're in a much better position, but we went with the safe option and look where it got us, so yeah, but let's see what else you guys are saying. I saw something about Sterling is levels above Reece and Eddie. Of course. Absolutely. He's so clear of them. It's not even a conversation. Of course he's clear. And that's why I'm saying it would not take much for us to lift the quality of our attacking group. Would it take a lot to upgrade upon Saka? Yes. Everybody else, you could add a Sterling in and you can make an argument that Sterling is probably our next best winger after Saka. You could, it's really, we're not there, so I'm loving the fact that we're probably going to get this done. Obviously, there'll always be questions around why we got here, but you have to just put that to the side anyway, because we have a game on Saturday and we have to win it. So, yeah, just get it done. Gus says, we knew Isak was going to be good for us, Jess. You did, but Edu and them clearly didn't think so, or they didn't believe it, and they thought that they could wait for Newcastle to get him and then think that they could just get him for a cheap fee. It just doesn't work out like that. One Take Thinker says he scored 10 goals last season. What are we talking about? Who? Not Isak. Isak didn't score 10 goals. I think how many goals did Isak score last season? I don't know who you're talking about. Let's see. Isak scored last season 20 goals. So I know that's not who you're talking about. Let's see. Raheem Sterling. Maybe that's who you're talking about. Sterling had 8 goals and 4 assists last season in 31 appearances. We know a lot of those were not starting. So, shit, I would take the 8 goals off the bench. Yeah, one thing about Sterling that he has maybe as a positive over some of our players is his ability to beat his man 1v1. I still think we lack that player that can really dribble. And he can definitely do that. His progressive carries and his take-ons are still quite good. Progressive passes received. So, he definitely has that in his locker that Martinelli doesn't have. He doesn't have the ability to go in between players and really break ankles and stuff like that. He doesn't really have that. So, yeah, but we'll take Sterling. We'll take what we can get. By the way, I love Here We Land, man. I hope there we land. I hope that he gets everything in life that he deserves. Like this exactly, like I love kids that like want to they see something and they feel like they can do it and they start doing it from a young age. Like he could be one of the biggest transfer gurus in the next like 10 years if he keeps going the way that he's going now. So seeing Winner come up there, I'm sorry, but like I love him so much. I think he's so clever, and I don't understand why people hate on him. I don't. So yeah, progress over the move. Looks like Sterling is gonna get done. So yeah. I'm in better than nothing. Better than nothing. Jordan says that Sterling Trossard link up might be. Listen, if you're bringing Trossard, well, this is so shady of me. I mean, no, I'm not even going to start because we haven't signed him yet. We'll do that later. But yeah, Trossard, Sterling off the bench. Let's go. It's better than nothing. TBG says if Sterling can beat the fullback, bring him. He can. We know this. Samuel says the kid got bullied from the start. Now he's made it. Period. That's my guy, man. There we land. Period. Jordan says the Sterling signing on loan would be the best deal of the entire transfer window because he gives an already good team in Arsenal a little extra in attack to score more goals. Imran says Jess Sterling needs to be coached a lot. His footballing IQ is low. I doubt that. I don't think Sterling's footballing IQ is low at all. O'Malley says, Jess, if Marino injury ends up being months, would you take Rabiot? No. One take thinker says that's a good considering he doesn't start he's a great player. He will fit in. Lynn says, evening, Jess, is Sterling going to be happy sitting on the bench when he thinks he's better than the club? I don't know if this is even this is like an assumption of his character. And I don't know if I believe that Sterling is the type of player that if he's on the bench, he's going to agitate and blow the club up. But I don't think first of all, if he's a player that Arteta rates, which he does, and he's a player that Arteta's worked with before, he will not be sitting on that bench. I'll tell you that right now. Arteta is not going to be afraid to use Raheem Sterling. So don't be surprised if you see him playing more minutes than you think he will. And I don't think, again, besides Saka, I don't actually believe many of our forwards are actually clear of Sterling, even 29-year-old Sterling. If he gets his groove going, he's going to actually compete for that left wing position. And so I don't think he'll be sitting on the bench. To me, it won't take that much for him to cook for us. Again, we have a very high, we think all of our players are on the same level and they're not. Life of BOJ says they know absolutely nothing about Sterling. Anybody who thinks Sterling has a low footballing IQ, I don't think you watch football. There's just no way you can think a player of his level has a low IQ. He had a bad time at Chelsea, and that is not indicative of the player that he is. He may have slowed down a little bit, but he's also pacey, like Fabrizio was saying. But let's not disrespect Raheem Sterling. He gets enough disrespect as it is. He's a good player. So yeah. Terrence Tibbs says Sterling is quality, and Boy says Sterling is dross. He shined at City because the likes of Aguero and Silva fed him in 20 chances a game. Then why was he good at Liverpool? Again, I feel I don't know how old you are, but Raheem Sterling also played at Liverpool and was very good, and he played as a number 10 for them. So Sterling has been around for a long time. He is tried and true, certified. There's no way that you can even think that he was only good because he was in a system for City, because he played at way too many clubs for you to think that, so yeah, weird. So yeah, very strange. TBG says he was more of a creator at Liverpool. We have we come on now. he would not have been my number one choice, but I'm not even about to try to like disregard Raheem Sterling. But yeah, you guys, I wanted to just pop on really quick. I can't stay until the window closes, but I wanted to make sure that I, at the very least, came on and address the Sterling news. So yeah, make sure you guys, like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back tomorrow, obviously, because we have a game for the watch along, and hopefully we'll be talking about a done deal for Reece Nelson going one way and Raheem Sterling going the other. But like I said, guys, better than nothing. And we'll definitely be rating the window and doing a little bit more deep dive on it as the days go on. Hopefully I can get James. Hopefully I can get James B on soon too, because I'd love to get his feelings on the window, because I think both of us were pretty aligned that we needed a attacker bad. Why can't I put in the password for this? I'm so annoyed right now. There we go. Okay. But yeah, I think I am happy with getting at least something. Maybe I'm easily pleased. I can definitely see that. But yeah, make sure you guys like and subscribe on the way out. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.